Good afternoon. Hello, this is Michael Pepe. I am the Director of Solutions Engineering here at Cinzy. I appreciate everyone taking the time today to learn more about our solution. For today's session, all participants will be muted, but please feel free to type any questions you have in the chat window, and I can answer any questions towards the end. And really, our platform is a comprehensive communications platform, but for today, we will be focusing on secure messaging. And our secure messaging tool is, think of it as really a HIPAA compliant instant message chat between staff members or with patients and caregivers. So, for any folks that are new to Cinzy, we are a virtual care company based in St. Petersburg, Florida. Our platform allows staff members, patients, family, and community physicians outside of your organization as well, all to communicate virtually, really to improve the quality of care and patient experience. Our platform is device agnostic, so staff, patients, and family members can use any device they are comfortable with. And even though we will solely be focusing on secure messaging today, as you can see on the left-hand side of our platform, we offer a variety of communication modalities that targets your entire patient population. And the ability to coordinate in the same conversation with all these folks on the right-hand side is a big key differentiator for us. So this is where we'll be diving into the actual platform and some of the functionality that you'll see today. But we're really one of the best in the industry in managing patients with complex chronic conditions. As I mentioned earlier, we're truly set ourselves apart as an all-in-one comprehensive communications platform that consolidates many methods of communication, whether it's virtual visits, video visits, clinical pathways, condition management that can be delivered via text or email, secure messaging right in the middle that we'll be focusing on today, remote patient monitoring as well, that a patient can connect Bluetooth or low energy devices to their application and take vital readings, and then also our assessment tool. Okay, and all communication modalities within Cinzy are reportable, so no personal phone numbers and emails are ever shared. If one of your staff members is logged in on their personal phone and needs to text a patient or email or a video visit, it all goes directly out of the platform. And today in this session, we're really going to cover how clinicians can maximize patient, family, and provider communications using our integrated secure text messaging and video. And, really while you're looking at it, as I mentioned earlier, think of our secure messaging as a HIPAA compliant instant message chatting with push notifications that are delivered directly to whichever device you're logged in on. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to go over to the actual Cinzy virtual care application. I'm going to be logged in as a field nurse up here, Dean Klein. And we're going to skip over a lot of the virtual care functionality for today, but focus really on the secure messaging on the staff to staff portion first. So think of communication with your colleagues within your organization. So within the staff directory, I have a couple different options within here to any members or staff members that I have access to. I could begin a virtual visit or a secure message directly. So let's go ahead. I could be out in the field directly sitting with a patient. I might need to securely message our group home director or medical director regarding a patient. So within the secure messaging portion of the platform, all of my messages are located on the left-hand side. And this is a historical list. So we display to all users their entire history of secure messages. And these could be with other staff members, they could be with patients, which we'll cover in a couple minutes, and then as well as caregivers, so any family members or outside physicians. Okay, so a very common use case of ours for secure messaging staff to staff is wound care. Okay, so think of this as a non-urgent type of communication. Maybe I need to get into a chat type conversation with a colleague of mine. I have the ability directly within the application to snap a picture from my device if I'm on a tablet or a phone. Everything is date and time stamped as well too. So all your message history will be in chronological order. Okay. I also have the ability, if I do need to edit or crop the image before sending it to someone, I could do that directly within the message. And then if I ever need to download it and upload it into my EHR, I can do that directly from the message as well. I also have the ability to send PDF files, and you'll see this on the patient and caregiver side as well. So in this specific instance, I forgot the care plan that I needed to deliver to my patient today, and one of my colleagues was able to send me the PDF file directly through the secure message thread. We also have many shortcuts throughout the application. So if this conversation did turn urgent and we needed to hop on a video visit, I could do that directly within the secure message thread here and go right into a virtual visit with our group home director, where I could be sitting with the patient, pointing my phone or my tablet at the patient's wound for this specific example, and we can talk through it. And just by a click of a button, if I needed to add any additional colleagues, this can be turned into a group messaging thread. So I can absolutely pick from a group of users that are within my platform. Or if I needed to pick an individual person, so let's just say Ed here, our registered nurse, I can go ahead and include all the previous messages. This is really helpful if I'm discussing a patient with my other staff member and they want to read the previous thread. Or if we're just going to start a brand new message thread, I can exclude all those previous messages. Another key feature of the platform on staff to staff communication is the ability to create a group or a distribution group. This is really helpful for team leaders, administrators, or just other staff members that maybe they want to create a like group of a specific region or a location. So, I could just say North Region Nurses Team. I can go ahead and select all the members on my team and just hit save. So as you can see here, I'm directly in the message thread now. And if I hover over this directly here, I can see all the group members that are within here. And now we're in an encrypted conversation, going application to application, really helpful for any announcements in the beginning of the day, any sort of inclement weather, maybe any disaster preparedness. On the hospice side, on the bereavement side, we've seen this used as well too. If there's several team members working on a specific patient, being able to use different announcements within here. Okay, so let's discuss communicating with patients. So for those folks not too familiar with Synzi, I am in the patients tab right now, and I have my roster of patients that I have access to over here on the left-hand side. And then I have all my different communication modalities up on top. We'll talk about secure messaging in a minute, but you also have your virtual visit. And then we also have a simple text or email as well. Everything, like I mentioned earlier, is all reportable and no personal phone numbers are ever shared. So if I needed to send out a non-PHI type of message, or maybe to a patient that's just on a flip phone, I could do that directly from here and send out a text or email, all dependent upon the patient's preference. And I can free type a message, or I could choose from a pre-saved template as well. Another common use case on the patient side as well too for on-demand messages is appointment reminders. We have a lot of clients that cut down their no-show rates by sending either automated appointment reminders or just on-demand appointment reminders. And then I can also have those appointment reminders already pre-translated into a specific language. So let's talk a little bit about secure messaging and then bringing in a caregiver as well too. So if as a clinician, if I wanted to go into a previous secure message conversation or start a new one with the patient, I am now in a secure message conversation with James Cook. As you could see here earlier, very similar to what you just saw earlier on the staff to staff side as well too. For this specific example, James Cook snapped a picture of his pulse ox device. I was asking to see his heart rate and oxygen levels. He snapped a picture directly from his device and shared it with me as well too. And as a staff member, I have the same functionality that you saw earlier on the staff side. I can add in another group member, another staff member if I need to as well. Really helpful on the wound care side, or even it's Sunday night, 10 o'clock. Maybe the patient wants a nurse or someone that's on call to take a look at something. Instead of hopping on a video call or sending a nurse out to the patient's home, they could simply just snap a picture, send it over directly, and be triaged appropriately. So within the secure messaging as well on the staff side, you can receive different alerts as well too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specific conversation. It could be a part of remote patient monitoring as well. Okay, so we're not going to dive too deep into this today, but as I was mentioning, being able to connect a Bluetooth, a low energy device to the application and view a patient's latest vital readings. For this example, I actually have an alert set up that if a patient goes above a certain blood pressure reading, anyone on the patient's care team is going to be alerted by a push notification, and everything is reportable as well. So if I'm logged in on my phone or my tablet and I am on the patient's care team, as you could see here from a couple weeks ago when this patient did take the reading, I will get a push notification to my device saying there's flagged vitals reading. It's not going to display any PHI information directly on my phone or my tablet. I will just click on that notification on my device. It's going to take me right to the secure messaging area. In conjunction, it also works with our assessments. So assessments is our survey tool, another way to gather data in between home visits. Did a previous webinar on this earlier, how to manage patients with chronic conditions. So if you're using in conjunction virtual visits, assessments, or automated programs, another really great ways to capture data. But you can flag different responses as well too. So this patient specifically took a COVID-19 risk assessment. And every time a patient responds, they have a fever or they have a cough, again, a part of their care team, I'm going to receive a notification directly to my device. So I have some here from earlier that were resolved. This was actually from a CHF assessment for the patient. So I was alerted every time one of my patients responded, they have not weighed themselves today. And directly from the thread, as you can see, if one of those flagged responses come up, I can type a secure message back to the patient saying, could you please, step on the scale now? You can snap a picture of it. Really helpful in managing chronic conditions. Or if I think it's urgent, I can hop right into a virtual visit, a video visit with that patient. On the caregiver aspect, you have the ability to add as many caregivers as you like to a patient profile. And caregivers we use very broadly within Synzi. These can be family members, they could be outside community physicians, like I mentioned. You can attach as many as you need here to communicate with, but a very common use case of ours is maybe a patient that's not too tech savvy, or a family member that lives nearby, or even lives at the patient's home, and you can communicate directly with that family member or caregiver. And then within the platform, within Synzi, we added the ability to communicate with these folks the same exact way you would with the patient. So you can add a patient profile here, even if you never intend to ever communicate virtually with that patient. You might not be doing any text or email or video calls or secure messaging with them, but you can add a caregiver, and that family member, I can go right into a secure message as well directly from here. So for this specific example, Meredith Daly might be James Cook's daughter. I met with James today at his home, and I delivered a care plan to him, but his daughter also wanted a copy of that care plan just so she can stay in the loop. I can go ahead and send that care plan by PDF directly through the secure message thread. We have some other automated ways as well too to communicate with these caregivers, for instance, flagging them, receiving the same patient program messages. But today we won't cover that. We covered that in an earlier session of automated communications where family members can be in the loop. The for any of the same communication that they'll be receiving for the patients. Any of the communication as well too that you're having with the patient, any of the secure message communication, we're going to touch on the end our enterprise admin within our reporting, but any of that communication I can quickly download to PDF if I need a copy of that as well. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to show you my mobile phone directly on the screen. This is our patient-facing application called Cincy Care Connect. I'm actually logged in as James Cook right now. So a couple things that I did want to highlight in here that pertains to secure messaging is care teams and then the messages area. So care teams directly is I can assign care teams to individual patients. These are pre-configured beforehand, and they can include individuals or a group of individuals. And what care teams do, it allows a patient or caregivers or their family members to initiate communication. Okay, so if I didn't have a care team assigned to this specific patient, they would not be able to initiate communication. They would need to wait for a secure message or a virtual visit to come in from someone at your organization. Care teams are extremely helpful with high-risk patients that you want to make available, maybe a group of virtual nurses or maybe their individual nurse. And then depending upon who's logged into the platform, they can either quickly begin a virtual visit with the phone icon, or they can go directly into a secure message where I was mentioning maybe it's Sunday night, 10 o'clock. They could snap a picture of their device. How does this look? Tell me if you need anything directly from here. But this is our same secure messaging that you just saw earlier. I was logged in on my browser earlier. This is my iPhone. Really only main difference from here from a mobile device or a tablet is I have the ability to snap a picture directly from the device. If I'm on a browser on a laptop or a desktop, obviously you cannot snap a picture directly from there unless there's the front camera. You can just upload a photo. This gives you all three options. So over with in our enterprise administration, this is our backend command center where you can control users, manage clinical content, run reports. Couple different reports that really focus on secure messaging. We do have a secure message focused report where you can run a full historical report based off of any time frame off of a specific user's message threads. So in this example, I chose Dean Klein or nurse. I can just simply type into here and it'll pull up all his secure message threads as well as who they are with. If I wanted to look up a specific patient, I can do that as well. So here's every secure message thread that my patient James Cook was in, and you can see here's a 3-participant conversation. And then if I did ever need to see any of the content within that message, I could view that directly here. One other report that I wanted to highlight that I showed earlier was our on-demand messaging, which is the text and email, which is outside of the secure message, which is non-encrypted, non-PHI type of communication. As I was mentioning, everything is reportable within the platform. So, if you're new and evaluating a virtual care platform, really important that you're looking for one that captures all the data that you need, whether it's for billing or audit purposes, but really having that paper trail is extremely helpful. And this report will give you all the activity within the platform. And from here, I can see any video visits that took place, the participants. But for pertaining to the specific example I was mentioning, you can view any text or emails that were sent out of the platform. So again, all date and time stamped, the user that sent them out, what the content of the message was, and what channel it was delivered by. So whether it was sent via SMS or email. So I would like to thank everyone for their time today. Hope everyone has a great rest of the week. And if you have any questions or would like to see a more in-depth demonstration, please go to Cinzy.com to request a full demo. If you're a current client, have any questions about best practices for implementing secure message within your organization, please reach out to your implementation team or account manager directly. So again, thank you everyone for your time. Hope everyone has a great rest of your week.